Hello and welcome to my kitchen. We're making pizza today. Now you might have your own recipe for pizza and that's great if you do, but if you want to learn how to do it, I'm going to take you through all the different stages. So starting with the ingredients. Now at the end I'll put a list of the ingredients, so don't worry about remembering them as I'm going through it, but what I need. So for the base, self-raising flour, make sure it's self-raising, and I'm also going to put a spoonful of baking powder in that to get that really nice doughy base rising up, okay? Now for the sauce, you've got a choice here. Something like passata, which is like a tomato sauce on its own basically, or chopped tomatoes, or tomato puree in a tube like that. You can use any of those things. The important thing is we're making the sauce ourselves, so we're not going to buy a jar of some ready-made sauce from the supermarket, but all of those things go quite nicely with a spoon of sun-dried tomato paste in it to give it a bit extra flavour. And also that we need salt and pepper for seasoning, okay? And I will also put into my sauce a bit of paprika and a bit of basil, a bit more flavouring there. And then onto the veg. Oh, I've got olive oil as well. So when I'm making the base, of course the base will be flour, water and a slug of olive oil, okay? Lucky I had the lid on that. For the veg, again, you choose what you want. We're going to put some sweet corn in it. I've got a red pepper. That always goes nice on pizza, that's a must. An onion and a courgette. Now you decide if you want a courgette or not. I like a courgette, so I'll put that on the pizza as well. And then of course, to go on top, we're going to put some grated cheese on. Now, that was some cheese I grated earlier. You can buy it pre-grated. Sliced cheese works just as well. As you can put that on top, all fine. Now, what sort of things do you need? What utensils do you need? Okay, I need a tray to put the pizza on. Okay, there's my baking tray to put the hasn't got to be round, but pizzas are round, so it makes it easier. Spoon for mixing, a knife for chopping, nice sharp knife. Okay, mixing bowl for the base, weighing scales, and another bowl for the sauce. That's all I need. Oh, one more thing. Sorry, rolling pin to roll out that dough. Okay, so we start by making the base, or that's the way I start. I'm going to do it like that, but that's what I'm going to do it today. So I want for one pizza 150 grams of self-raising flour. In it goes. I'm going to put a bit more in because I'm making more than one pizza, but remember 150 grams. So let's just weigh that in. Then I'm trying to watch the scales that's going in. Don't want to put too much in, do we? In it goes, just a bit more there, look. A bit more. There we are, there's the flour. I said teaspoon of baking powder, and that goes. Tiny bit of salt, you don't need much salt for this. Bit of salt. Oh, I didn't say you needed a measuring jug. I'm just going to mix that up a little bit before I put the water in without making too much of a mess. And in goes the water. And oh, for one pizza, about 50 millilitres of water, and there's my slug of olive oil, okay? And then what I'm going to do is mix that around until it turns into a lovely dough. Now what you have to remember is if it's not sticking together or it's like too dry, put a bit more water in. If you made it too wet, you can put a little bit more flour in, but you don't want to be going more flour, more water, more flour, more water. Try and get it right to start with. This is maybe a little bit dry, so maybe a tiny bit more water, but I'm going to mix this into a dough now. Okay, we're still rolling around the dough and suddenly, miraculously, turns to a lovely ball of dough like that. And your dough is ready when it's pliable and soft, like Play-Doh. You know when you're a kid playing with Play-Doh? Hello? Okay, now that's ready to roll out into a pizza base. So I'm going to put that on there, but first of all, so I can roll it out, a little bit of flour on my surface there to stop it sticking, otherwise it will stick. Okay, like that. And then I roll it into a ball as round as you can, squash it down, turn it over so both sides have got flour on because then it won't stick to anything, and get your rolling pin, and we're going to roll that out into a nice pizza base. As you're rolling, you're turning it all the time because otherwise you're going to get a big oval shaped pizza. But by rolling and turning, it's going to turn into a lovely pizza base. Okay, we're still rolling the base out, and there it is, a lovely pizza base. Now, when we put it on this, some people put oil on that to stop it sticking. I prefer just putting some flour on because if you put flour on, it won't stick and it makes a lot less mess than oil. So there's a bit of flour like this, scattered over your tray, so like that, about that much. And I'll put that there. Whoops, don't balance it on your rolling pin. Bad idea. Get your pizza base, put it on the tray like that. And there you go. That pizza base now is ready to be decorated with the tomato sauce, the toppings and the cheese. Now, time to make the sauce. I'm using the passata, listen, fresh. I'm using passata, so I just pour, and I don't know how thick you like your sauce, so you know how much pizza sauce you need. I'm gonna pour some of that in there, it's about enough. And then also, the sun-dried tomato paste, I'm gonna put a bit of that in as well, because I think that adds a nice sweetness to it, if that's the word I'm looking for. So that can go in. Tiny bit of salt, but not too much. On most cooking programs on television, I think they put way too much salt in, much more than you need. Bit of pepper to add a bit more flavour. And of course, my old friends, paprika and basil, teaspoon each. So a teaspoon of basil goes in, and a teaspoon of, that wasn't quite a teaspoon, I want a proper teaspoon of paprika, put it in, okay, and then with your spoon you're going to mix those up into a lovely rich pizza sauce, which will now spread on the pizza. Actually, I won't spread it on yet, because the pizza will start to go a bit maybe soggy, so we won't put that on until it's ready to go in the oven. So I'm going to cut up my veg first, but there's my sauce, put that to one side already. Okay, we're going to talk about the ingredients now. I'm preparing those. Now, what you might have missed, hiding behind the scales, was the olives. I love black olives on a pizza. Make sure you put some of them on. It gives you that genuine Italian Greek taste, so make sure you put a few of those on. But now we're going to start by cutting up the pepper. Obviously, always wash your fruit and veg first. So if you'd like to come in a bit closer, we can see how we cut up the pepper. Now, don't give her that thing where you cut off the end of like that and waste all that red pepper there. Find a line on it like that. Now, make sure your hands are well away from where the knife is going to be cutting. So never cut like that, where you cut your fingers. Make sure your hands are well away, and then we simply cut it in half like that. And that normally cuts it on one of the white lines. So now I can just carefully trim out all of that white stuff inside, which we don't want, and the core bit there, okay? Don't want any of that bit. All the seeds, okay? And then what I'm going to do, on a pizza you want strips of pepper, so I'm just going to cut it into little thin strips. Again, making sure my hand is well away from the actual cutting. And now we're going to do the courgette. Just cut that end bit if you don't want that. Don't want that. And then with courgette, safest way to cut something like a courgette or a carrot, don't have your fingers anywhere near it. Just like this, look. And I'm doing it with a knife, I'm cutting with a knife. You can even, if it's not rolling around too much, hold the back of the knife, and look at this. There's no way I'm going to cut myself, because my fingers are nowhere near the knife. They're on top of it all the time. And I've got some lovely big, what are we going to call these? Rounds of courgette for the pizza. So there's the courgette. Now, are you one of these people, when you cut an onion up, you cry? I'm not, usually, so let's hope I don't cry today for the video. So, with the onion, cut the two ends off, peel all the skin off. We don't want any of that on. That's not going in the pizza, is it? Look at this. This usually takes me hours to do that, but it's almost like I knew what I was doing. And then cut the onion in half like that. And again, we're going to cut that into slices like that. Okay. Onion's going in my hand. We're going to cut it into slices. So you've got nice long kind of strings of onion, and then with that, I simply cut it in half. When I break that up on the pizza, I'm gonna get some nice pieces of onion. There's the onion. Okay, now it's time to spread the sauce, one of my favourite jobs of making the pizza. So I get a nice spoon of the sauce. I've seen them doing this in all those pizza places where you can go and buy a takeaway pizza, and they're like, I'm more like, ooh, but you know, I can only improve. So, put the pizza sauce on like that, and you just spread it around like that, look. Maybe a bit more on that one, like that. Looks about right, doesn't it? There we go. And now we're gonna go straight into putting on the veg. Now, it does matter what order you put the veg in, it does matter, because your onion is gonna dry out if it was on top, so onion goes on the bottom. So put your onion over the bottom like that. And again, the olives will dry out, so they want to go on the bottom as well. Don't end up putting your olives on top because they're just going to dry out. So I put some olives on. Traditionally, back in the 1980s, if you bought a pizza in a restaurant, one olive in the middle, but people like olives more than that now. So I'm going to give this pizza a fair spread of olives like that. There we go, quite a few olives on there. And then a bit of red pepper. And when you're putting your red pepper on, if you can just come in and look at this, make sure you put it in a nice wheel design like that. The customer wants to enjoy this pizza, make it look nice for him, even though it's going to have cheese on the top. And then on top of that, we're going to have a few bits of courgette like this, a few wheels of courgette around it, and why not one in the middle as well. And then we go onto the cheese, and your own preference, how much cheese you like, we're now going to cover it in cheese. Okay, there's our pizza ready to go in the oven. I'm going to bake that in the oven for about 20 minutes, but you can judge when the cheese goes golden brown, it's ready, about 20 minutes on gas mark 6 or 180 degrees, okay? Now, I'm going to go full traditional 1980s, and we're going to put an olive right in the middle on the top. And the other thing, I did put a bit of sweet corn in. And I put it in the oven and cook it now, but when you're cooking, make sure you're always using the oven gloves. Never try and do it in a towel or something because you're going to run into trouble. I'm going to put it in the oven now. The oven was on, so it's hot, okay? Don't put it in a cold oven, put it in a hot oven. And if I remember, when I take it out, I will do a little film for that as well, but I might forget, I might just eat it straight away. But remember, you can see it coming out, so in it goes. 20 minutes has gone by, okay? We're going to get the pizza out of the oven and see what it looks like. And again, we're using the oven gloves. Did I say as well, when we're talking about safety, make sure you wash your hands before you start? We've been talking about washing hands these days. Make sure you wash your hands. And because I floured the tin before I put it in the oven, you'll find that pizza would have slide off like a... There we go, beautiful look. And what I'm going to do just on top, we've made a pizza with a lot of fresh ingredients. That's important. All those fresh vegetables, really good for you. And there's nothing nicer than a little bit of fresh rocket on top, like that. My last one to say, make sure you do your own washing up. Don't leave pans for other people. People don't like that. Enjoy your pizza. There he is, look.